Welcome to another deep dive. This time, it's into the world of children's magic camps, which might not sound like the most intense topic, right?
Right.
But trust me, the lecture you sent us, it's packed with surprises.
I was fascinated by it, really.
Exactly. And we're going to, really unpack it together, okay?
This is good.
First, we got to start with, the big why.
Why magic? Why
Then
kids?
then we'll look at what these camps really achieve, besides the tricks themselves.
The deeper impact. Yeah,
Exactly. And then, of course, huge one, keeping kids safe.
absolutely essential.
Totally. After that, we'll get into the practical stuff. Venues,
The
marketing.
business side of things.
Exactly. Teaching techniques, choosing the right tricks, keeping it affordable.
And of course, can't forget that final
The,
show.
the grand finale. It all builds up to that, right?
For sure.
Okay, so this expert, he starts off with some stories, right? And one that really stuck with me.
Hmm.
It was about a little girl, super shy. Her dad was a veteran who lost both his legs in Iraq. Yeah, and the whole family was struggling, with the trauma of everything.
I can imagine.
So this little girl, she goes to magic camp, and it's like a light switch flips. She becomes a star, making friends, performing.
Amazing.
And get this, her dad was battling suicidal thoughts at the time.
Oh, no.
But seeing her transformation gave him a reason to keep going.
That's powerful.
And it even saved their parents' marriage. They were on the verge of divorce, but seeing their daughter thrive brought them back together.
It's like magic had this ripple effect, going way beyond just the tricks.
Totally. And it makes you realize it's not just about the rabbits and hats, It's
Yeah.
about finding your voice, your confidence.
It's self-expression, in a way.
Exactly. There's another story he tells about a boy who had, behavioral issues.
A tough kid.
Yeah, his mom was always worried they'd call her to come get him from camp,
Thinking he wouldn't fit in.
But instead, he thrived. He even ended up teaching younger kids this complicated rope trick.
Wow. Turning things around completely.
It's proof that magic camp is more than just learning tricks,
Yeah.
It's about gaining these life skills that'll stick with you forever.
So whether you're working with kids or just want to understand them better, there's something in this for everyone.
100%. And now, this is huge. Let's talk safety, especially with kids, right? This expert is super cautious, rightfully so.
Yeah, he doesn't mess around.
He even tells this crazy story about a magician who taught fire tricks, and one kid almost burned down his house.
Yikes.
Yeah, so our expert is all about age-appropriate, safe magic. He talks about open areas for instruction, bathroom breaks as a group, and always being on the lookout for any signs of, bullying or distress.
Basically, a good camp makes sure everyone feels safe.
Yeah,
AD has fun. It's both.
exactly.
Yeah.
Now, let's get into the practical stuff, right? Venues and marketing. So our expert, he's got this brilliant, cost-effective strategy.
Let's hear it.
He partners with organizations that already have a kid-focused audience.
Smart move.
Right. Think civic centers, recreation departments, even cultural centers in smaller towns.
So he's not starting from scratch with advertising.
Exactly. Saves money, leverages existing marketing.
But-
Genius, right.
Total win-win. Great model for any entrepreneur, really.
He even told the story about partnering with a cultural center in Idaho, of all places. They handle the advertising. He gets a cut. He just shows up and teaches.
Resourceful and builds community connections, too.
Exactly. So, ready to get into the nitty-gritty of teaching, because what this expert reveals is pure gold.
Hit me with it. I'm ready to learn.
Okay, so he's got this step-by-step approach, and it's all about building excitement, A&D, respect for magic.
Love it.
So first, you perform the trick perfectly to really wow them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then you use the exact same props they'll be using, no excuses.
Level playing field.
Then you explain the why behind the trick, its history, context, what you can do with it.
Making it more than just a gimmick.
Yes, but here's the kicker. When you hand out the props, you treat them like precious artifacts.
Whoa, I never thought about that.
Right, he's like, this is a magic prop. This prop deserves respect. Changes the whole vibe, right?
Totally. Makes them feel special, like they're being initiated into something.
Exactly. Then, after revealing the secret, they practice together, then solo, building up to performing for their peers.
So it's supportive, but still challenges them to step up.
Exactly. Now, feedback is interesting. Instead of direct critique, he gets the other kids to say what they liked about the performance.
Clever. Keeps it positive.
Right. Then he gives just one specific thing to work on. So it's balanced, confidence boost, but still pushing for growth.
Makes sense. Now, this might be surprising, but are you ready to talk about keeping costs down?
Wait, you mean you can create magic without spending a fortune?
That's exactly what our expert does. He focuses on simple but impactful tricks, using stuff you can find around the house or, like, super cheap props.
How cheap are we talking?
You think $1 or less.
No way. I'm impressed.
And get this, he's all about 3D printing for custom props. Pennies on the dollar.
That is seriously resourceful. I bet our listener is taking notes right now.
Me too. Proof that you don't need fancy equipment to teach well.
Okay, so the big finale, the graduation show, it's not just about the tricks, right? It's like the ultimate confidence builder.
It's where it all comes together.
Exactly. So the whole camp is structured to build toward this performance where they show off their skills to family and friends.
Talk about stage fright, though. How does he handle that?
Rehearsals. Throughout the week, they practice their patter. That's what magicians call their little speeches during a trick.
Smart. Getting them comfortable with performing.
Right. So it's like he's not just teaching them tricks, he's equipping them with life skills. Public speaking, handling nerves, working towards a goal.
And the feeling of accomplishment when they nail it.
Exactly. Speaking of feeling accomplished, there's this other cool thing he does for the graduation show. He lets the kids name the show.
Really? That's awesome.
I know, right? Gives them so much ownership. He even told this funny story about one group. They came up with this, like, totally bonkers name.
What was it?
Something like the Magical Unicorn Rainbow Explosion Show. He almost vetoed it, but then he was like, you know what? Let them have their fun.
And I bet it was amazing. Kids get so into it when they have that creative freedom.
Exactly. Okay, so we talked about the emotional side of the show, but what about the logistics? Does he give tips on, like, the stage setup, the flow of performers, all that?
Yeah, he's got systems for everything. Backstage organization is key, he says. Minimizes chaos. Keeps the energy focused.
Makes sense. And I bet it helps the kids too, right? Like learning to be organized, responsible.
Totally. He even suggests giving them roles backstage, like stage manager, prop assistant, teaches them teamwork too.
Brilliant. What about music? Special effects? Does he go all out?
He recommends using music to set the mood, build anticipation, but not too much. The focus should be on the kids and their magic, not distracting lights and sounds.
Right. Gotta let the magic speak for itself.
Exactly. Simple effects like fog or a strobe light can add some drama, but he keeps it classy.
Now, let's talk about the tricks themselves. He actually shows a bunch in the lecture, right?
Oh, yeah, and he's designed many of them himself, even 3D printed some.
No way! So resourceful. What kind of tricks are we talking?
Everything from jumping bottles to color-changing discs.
Right.
Visually cool, but still easy for kids to learn.
That's the sweet spot. He even breaks down this classic rope trick, the rope through neck, emphasizing safety and proper technique.
Always got to prioritize safety.
Absolutely. And he's really big on clear instructions, no room for misinterpretation, especially with magic props.
Smart. You don't want any accidents.
Now, does he have like a set curriculum or does it depend on the kids?
He gives a framework for a week-long camp, with tricks getting progressively harder. Starts with basics, builds from there.
Makes sense, so they don't get overwhelmed but still challenged, right?
Exactly. And he emphasizes being flexible, observing how the kids are doing, adapting to their pace.
So a good mix of structure and adaptability.
That's it. Now, what about those wow moments? The stuff that makes magic so captivating.
The gasps, the dropped jaws, that's what it's all about, right?
He's got some great tips for that. Pacing, misdirection, showmanship. He wants them to think about the story they're telling with the trick.
So it's not just about the mechanics, it's about engaging the audience.
Exactly. He even suggests they add a little acting, facial expressions, gestures, really selling the illusion.
Turn it into a performance. I love that. This makes me wonder, do you think anyone can learn magic? Or do you need a certain, knack for it?
He actually addresses that. He believes that while some people might pick it up faster, anyone can learn the basics with enough practice.
So it's more about dedication than talent.
Exactly. Like any skill, really.
Mm.
Practice makes perfect.
That's encouraging. It means magic is accessible to everyone.
And even if you don't want to be a pro magician, he says learning magic helps with hand-eye coordination, problem-solving, creativity.
Plus the confidence boost.
Absolutely. It's like mastering yourself as much as the illusion.
Okay, so enough about the warm and fuzzy stuff. Let's talk business.
Getting practical now, huh?
Yeah. Does he give advice on, marketing, promotion? You got to get people in the door.
Oh, yeah. He's got a whole section on that.
Mm.
Knows your target audience is key, he says. For him, it's parents who want enriching activities for their kids.
Makes sense. What kind of marketing does he recommend?
Community stuff like flyers in schools, libraries, community centers, places where families hang out.
Smart, keep it local.
And online presence is huge too.
Hmm,
Website, social media, got to be where the parents are.
definitely. And his messaging is all about the benefits, right? Confidence, creativity, performance skills, stuff that resonates with parents.
Exactly. Makes it an investment in their child's future, not just a fun summer activity.
Now let's talk pricing. Does he give tips on finding that sweet spot, affordable but still profitable?
He says, do your research, see what other camps are charging in your area, get a feel for the market.
Good advice. What about different package options like half day, full day, that kind of thing?
He recommends that too. Gives people flexibility, caters to different budgets.
Not right. Right. Totally. He's thought of everything, even branding. He suggests a catchy name, logo, maybe even a theme for the camp, like Wizarding Academy or something.
I love that. Makes it more immersive, exciting for the kids.
And it helps with marketing too, right? Creates a memorable image.
Exactly. Consistent branding across the board, website flyers, everything.
Okay, so let's get into the practical stuff of running the camp itself. What about equipment? Supplies?
He gives a whole list. Obviously, magic props cards, coins, silks, ropes, some basic
The
illusions.
essentials.
Then craft supplies too. Construction paper, glue, markers. He encourages letting kids make their own wands, personalize their stuff.
That's awesome. Makes it even more special for them.
Totally. And organization is key. Clear bins for everything, labeled properly.
Yeah, especially with a bunch of kids running around, you need order.
He recommends a dedicated practice space too, with tables, good lighting, and get this, mirrors.
Mirrors. Why mirrors?
So they can see themselves, check their movements, make sure everything is smooth and precise.
That's so smart, like having an instant feedback loop. We've talked a lot about keeping things safe, but are there any other specific safety guidelines he recommends for Magic Camp?
Oh yeah, he's got a whole list. No running or horseplay, no touching props without permission, always listening to instructions. Basic stuff, but important to reinforce.
Right, sets the right tone from the start. What about emergencies, though? Does he have a plan for that?
Always have a well-stocked first aid kit, he says, and everyone should know basic first aid.
Makes sense. You never know what might happen.
And he recommends having a designated safety officer on hand, someone specifically responsible for keeping an eye on things.
Great idea. Adds an extra layer of security. Okay, we've covered a lot: safety, logistics, even the business side. But what about the kids who are, like, shy, hesitant to perform?
He emphasizes patience and positive reinforcement above all.
So important. Got to create a safe space for them to come out of their shell.
He says, celebrate individual progress, no comparing kids to each other.
Everyone learns at their own pace.
Exactly. He suggests letting them practice in small groups first, before the big show.
Ease them into it. What about feedback? For those sensitive kids, how do you deliver it without crushing their spirit?
He has some great tips for that. Focus on specific behaviors, give concrete examples, and frame it as suggestions for improvement, not criticism.
Love that. All about encouraging growth, not tearing them down.
And he's big on involving parents, too. Sharing progress reports, inviting them to watch performances, providing positive reinforcement at home.
It really does take a village.
Yeah.
Okay, so we know he observes the kids, but does he have like formal assessments? How does he track their progress?
He's all about continuous improvement, so he recommends a mix of observation, performance reviews, and even self-reflection exercises for the kids.
So they're thinking about their own WN growth too.
Exactly. And he encourages instructors to analyze all that data, look for patterns, see what's working and what's not.
Data-driven magic camp, I love it.
He's all about refining the program, making sure it's meeting everyone's needs.
Now, this is something I'm always curious about with camp's community building. Does he touch on that?
Oh yeah, he stresses that. Creating a sense of belonging is huge.
Makes the experience so much richer, right?
Clearly. He suggests team-building activities, icebreakers, group challenges, all those fun camp staples.
Breaks down barriers, gets them working together.
And he encourages showcasing talents, sharing interests, building a culture of respect and appreciation.
Love it. What about the camper-instructor dynamic? Any tips on fostering positive interactions there?
Instructors should be approachable, supportive, enthusiastic. Create that fun, welcoming vibe.
Yeah, that makes a huge difference. Okay, let's get down to brass tacks financial management. Running a camp costs money.
He's got you covered. He has this whole framework for managing finances.
Lay it on me. I need all the tips I can get.
First, a detailed budget is crucial. Outlining all your expenses, expected income.
So you're not caught off guard. What kind of expenses are we talking?
Instructor fees, venue rental, marketing supplies, insurance, admin stuff.
Yeah.
It adds up.
No kidding. And how do you bring in the money?
Tuition fees are the obvious one, but offering different packages helps, and he suggests seeking sponsorships from local businesses.
Smart. Tap into community resources. And any advice on like managing cash flow, making sure you can pay the bills.
Separate bank account for the camp, track every penny coming in and going out.
Organization is key in every aspect.
And for pricing, he says, research your competition. Find that balance between what parents will pay and what keeps you profitable.
Makes sense. Okay, enough number crunching. What about incorporating technology into Magic Camp?
Oh, he's all for it. He sees it as a tool to make things more engaging, enhance the learning experience.
I can see so many possibilities. What does he suggest specifically?
Video tutorials, online magic resources, even apps that teach tricks.
Kids love that stuff.
And using tech for special effects during performances, recording videos of the shows.
Next level Magic Camp.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've touched on marketing, but any other tips on promoting the camp, getting those signups?
He's got some creative ones. Free magic demos at local events, schools, community centers. Get people excited.
Great way to showcase what you offer.
Partnering with businesses to offer discounts, cross-promotion kind of thing.
Smart. Expand your reach.
And of course, a website, social media pages, all the essentials. Photos, videos, testimonials. Gotta make it look good.
Absolutely. Capture that magic online. But how do you know if your marketing is working?
He's all about tracking results.
Fair.
Using analytics, special links, seeing what's getting clicks and engagement,
Data-driven decisions, I love it.
and being flexible too. Adjust your approach based on what the data tells you.
Gotta stay ahead of the curve. Speaking of staying ahead, let's talk about building lasting relationships with the community.
He's a big believer in that. Becoming a valued part of the community is essential, he says.
It's a win-win for everyone. How do you achieve that, though?
Volunteer at events, sponsor youth programs, offer free magic workshops,
Give back, show you care,
collaborate with local organizations, create joint programs,
strengthen those bonds.
and be a good neighbor in general, Support local businesses, be visible, positive. It all comes back around.
That's a beautiful thought. Creating a network of support and connection. So out of all this, was there anything in the lecture that really surprised you?
What struck me was how this wasn't just about magic camp. It was about effective teaching, child development, even entrepreneurship.
I know, right? It's amazing how these lessons apply to so much more than just magic tricks.
With confidence building, the creative problem solving, the importance of structure and feedback. We can all use that stuff.
Totally. It makes you wonder what other seemingly simple activities have this kind of hidden potential.
That's the question, isn't it? What magic are we overlooking in our own lives?
I think that's a perfect place to leave our listener with that thought in mind. Yeah, what hidden magic are we missing out on? Makes you really think.
It does. And, it reminded me of something else he said about how magic is at its core, about possibility.
Oh, I like that.
Believing that impossible things can happen and that we all have that power inside us to make something extraordinary.
That's a great way to put it. It's not just tricks, it's a whole mindset.
Exactly. And he challenged everyone to take that feeling, that sense of possibility beyond the magic camp.
To find it in our everyday lives.
Yeah, to create those magical moments wherever we can.
So to our listener, if this deep dive has sparked something in you, if you're feeling that possibility, go explore it.
Absolutely.
Maybe it's volunteering with kids or mentoring someone or just like really connecting with the people you love.
Those little things can be magic too sometimes.
Exactly. You don't need a wand or a fancy stage.
Yeah.
The real magic, it's already inside you.
Couldn't have said it better myself.